Welcome to another edition of Papa Bojo's Kitchen. Today, I'm going to make my mother's Polish kielbasa with sauerkraut and pierogi with butter and onions. It's very simple, not a lot of traditional Polish spices. It's not long cooked or anything like that, but it's exactly the way my father loved it, and that's why my mother made it that way. Here are your ingredients. Living in the Detroit area, we always had access to great homemade Polish food. For example, my mother never had to make homemade pierogi because we could get great homemade pierogi anywhere in the city. Also, there's a company called Kowalski, and again, I don't get any kickback for any of this. I'm not sponsored by them, but I do want to say this is a great Polish kielbasa by Kowalski. And so my mom never had to make it homemade. But we always had the, quote, homemade authentic style for my dad. Now, I want to show you something. Cutting onions, there's a little trick. When you get to the end of the onion and you don't want to slice your fingers, all you have to do is put it flat on its face, and then you make slits like this. And then you can dice the onion very simply into the sizes that you want. And believe it or not, when you're all said and done, this is all you're throwing away. Now, my mother used to always cut the kielbasa in big chunks before she put it into her sauerkraut. And although she might have, I don't remember seeing her ever drain her sauerkraut. Now I'm going to turn the heat on medium-high and just stir the sauerkraut around a little bit. Then I'm going to add in my pieces of kielbasa. And I'm just going to stir the sauerkraut and kielbasa all together to get it evenly mixed in the pot. Now I'm going to turn the heat up to high, and I'm going to bring this to a slight boil. Once it comes to a boil, I'm going to cover it and set it to simmer. Now, in case you didn't notice, I have my mother's Revere-ware frying pan. This is what she always used to make the pierogi. I'm going to turn my heat on medium-high. I'm going to add in all my butter. And I'm going to wait for all my butter to melt. Once my butter is just about melted, I'm going to stir in all of my onions. I'm going to cook these until they turn translucent. While the onions are cooking, I'm going to take some sour cream. I'm going to mix in some chives, and I'm going to stir for some sour cream and chives to put on top of the pierogi. Now that the onions are translucent, I'm going to put in my pierogi. I'm going to move the onion around so the pierogi can touch the bottom of the pan. I'm going to flip the pierogi over to make sure both sides are covered in the butter. And I'm going to continue to let these cook until they've browned nicely the way I want them. You brown them the way you want them. I'm going to brown them the way my mother did. Now, the key to making this is to make sure that the onions brown at the same time that the pierogi do. Now, you see this browning? This is exactly the way my mom would make them. Not much more than this, maybe sometimes a little bit more, but in general, that amount of browning. And as we flip these, we'll continue to cook until they're all browned on both sides, just like this. And I turn the heat off now, and I take the last ones and I put them on the plate. And these onions are perfectly done. We have some nice brown bits with some nice bits that are just nice and tender. And now I'm going to take these onions and the butter and put it all over these pierogi. And I'm going to add my kielbasa and sauerkraut to this platter. And here we have it. So now I'm going to make myself a nice dish of this pierogi and kielbasa. I'm going to take a few of these pierogi with the onions. I'm going to steal a few more onions because I like the onions on top of them. Then I'm going to take myself a couple pieces of this kielbasa. Give myself some of this sauerkraut. I'm going to add myself a couple dollops of the sour cream and chives over my pierogi. I'm going to sprinkle just a few more chives over my pierogi. And here you have it, my mother's pierogi with butter and onions, sauerkraut, and kielbasa. Her way, the way my dad loved it. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Papa Bojo's Kitchen. I hope you come and see me again. Schmaschnego. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.